seems like we're on a remaster streak here, which seems to sum up 2020 in more ways than one. This one we have is Mafia, the original Mafia game. We talked about Mafia 2 a little while ago. They remastered that. This is more of a substantial remaster or a remake, uh, and to a much older game. The first one in the series, you had Mafia, Mafia 2, Mafia 3, which came out most recently. Leigh, tell me about this Mafia remake. I remember, I think it's probably Mafia 2 that I played before, and I didn't really like that, but I never went back and played the original Mafia. How's this new version hold up, and is it a game that people should be playing?
Well, this is actually my second go around on the podcast for Mafia. We talked about Mafia 2, the definitive edition,
Yep.
a few months back, which I kind of savaged because it was a badly kind of remastered mess.
Yeah, I believe you
This is-
called people who bought it dildos.
we're not talking about that.
I believe
It,
that's
it,
that's what came of that. That was like your summary. You're like 4 out of 10. You're a dildo is what I remember.
I forgot about that. Obviously, six with more. They're better with more people than me. But yeah, it's very confusing because they've released the three in a set, and they're all called a definitive edition. So it suggests that this is just another remaster, but it's not. It is a ground up remake. The story been slightly expanded.
Mm-hmm.
They've completely redone the cutscenes with new actors, new voice cast.
Okay.
Um, it's been completely overhauled because the first one was rather dated. The best part of the first one was the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of, in my opinion, which counts for everything, of course. It's
Obviously.
probably one of the best, like, period crime stories I've played.
Okay.
You know, when you look at stuff like your Godfathers or your sort of games like that, it's incredibly well written with very good character. They've carried that over. They've carried a lot of things over, expanded a lot. It's a guy from it's like 30s, not quite Chicago, called Little Heaven, and you're a cab driver that gets hauled up into a heist by two goons from someone called the Salieri family. Um, and he gets dragged into that after getting them out of it by being an ace driver. He's a good guy that's willing to do bad things to advance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story continues through kind of his rising through that ranks. That's
Mm-hmm.
generally the story. But I actually really, really enjoyed this one. After being so disappointed by the second one,
Yeah.
and kind of the flaws hadn't been ironed out from the second one. So it really stuck out. They've really advanced this. You could tell it's sourced from an old game by the mission structure and stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess
Um,
probably anecdotally the criticisms I've seen is mission structure and kind of like the world in general feels pretty dated.
yeah, but I think in the way you know how you kind of plumped into something and it's kind of stop and pop gameplay, um, very much kind of that old thing, but it's done with kind of a very big authenticity to it. Kind of, it feels like you're in one of the gangster movies. It feels like you're in a Godfather, you're in an Untouchables, you're in a. It does feel like that very much so. Now, in the first one, the whole thing was authenticity because obviously you had your GTA's, and this was adjacent to that. But they said, "Oh, yeah, the cars handle like 1930s cars," and that's fine. But I don't think they had the technology to quite pull that off. So your cars just handled like shit, if
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just you couldn't quite refine it to show that yes, they're old cars and they don't take corners well. Um, they managed to pull this off here. It still doesn't handle great, but that's because it's a 1930 car with tires as thin as pencils.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean,
but you can believe it and buy into it more.
there's a reason why they say these cars drove like boats because they like, kind of did. They were huge and
Mm.
heavy, and Like you said, they
Mm,
take corners horribly.
yeah.
Um, they just don't maneuver very well.
It's more understandable now as opposed to handing like a car with marmalade wheels
Hmm.
like it did in 2002. Same with the shooting. Very much it's kind of because obviously Tommy guns aren't accurate. Tommy guns are built for capacity,
Yeah.
not accuracy. And it just felt horrible in this. In the original, in this, it's much more. It's still got that spray and pray thing, but kind of it's much better if you're kind of taking your single shots with your Tommy gun when you need to, so you can pick off those headshots pretty well.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of it is tightened up a little bit. That it's a lot easier to pull off that stuff, but there's also an extra. It's like a classic mode when they take all that off. They take the slight aim assist off, and they take kind of the ease of the driving off, so you got it more authentically like the old version,
Hmm.
where it is a lot tougher to control the stuff, but not in a way that is old design, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like
so
deliberately
it,
trying to make it difficult, right?
yeah, but without kind of the lack of finesse of the programming of the driving in the first one.
Hmm.
But yeah, the thing is, yes, like you say, you can tell it's old set pieces and how they would have you progressing, say, through a warehouse and a shootout and stuff like that. You can see that, but they're still very well crafted set pieces. It makes you successfully feel like you've been cornered somewhere where you shouldn't have been, where everybody rocks up with their guns and stuff, and you have to shoot your way out, and you do feel like you're taking in a very cinematic set piece.
Hmm.
So it's quite nice like that. It's good. There's um the thing there was with the second one, which you said before, where the city is empty. There's not no real side missions to do with this.
Yeah.
In that one, and it can be dull. It's the same with this, but for some reason it works with this where it didn't with the second one, where kind of you can travel from A to B. And there's nothing to do in that city, and it is an open city. But the banter keeps you kind of going through it. But you've got an option in this one to skip that, so you just go straight to your mission.
Hmm.
If you was willing to do, which I thought I would do, but I didn't. I like sitting there and getting the atmosphere of you making your way from your start to your mission spot. I actually sat through it because it's a very immersive game.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
let's
Does
say
it
the
does it
dialogue.
all look good and play
Oh
good?
yeah,
Run well?
it looks yeah runs well. Yeah, the graphics have been very well done, incredibly well redone. It looks. I wouldn't say it looks like a current game, but it does look like a more impressive game from this generation.
Hmm.
It's not obviously not tip top graphics, but um, it's well realized, very atmospheric. It feels very authentic. Um, the lighting engines and stuff like that is great. Um, Animations when you kill like shoot people with your gun and stuff, it's much more dynamic than it was in the first one, or indeed the second one, or indeed the third one.
Hmm.
It's probably closest if you ever saw the graphics of the third one. It feels like it's very much based upon that, and they've just taken that Hangar 13 to that and put it back in here,
Yeah,
just
they
given it more
were.
period.
I feel like the cutscenes in the third one were really sharp, but some of the
Mm,
world, like you lost some detail when you went out into the open world and
mm,
stuff like that. It felt like a little dated, but yeah.
mm.
I mean, I've seen
This is
like I've
probably a
seen
little
like
bit more.
trailers and stuff of this game, and like
Mm.
at least the cutscenes they look amazing.
Yeah, and they're very, very well acted. It's a very engrossing story. It's one of those things you probably want to watch someone else play. Even if you say you don't want to play it, you probably want somebody to do a playthrough of it and get engaged in the story
Hmm.
because there's good characters in there. They're very well played. They're very well um, kind of defined and written. Um, it's a really good story. If you like period gangster stories,
Yeah.
it's very engaging. Yeah, but I for the price of it, which is kind of 30, 35.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, I'd recommend it highly. I
Hmm.
really would. There's extra modes I haven't dipped into, which is kind of you have a free roam mode, and then you have a mode that's free roam, but it will trigger at different places. Those set pieces, but you don't know when they're going to trigger, and the police are dynamic in that, which means when you're terrorising the release can go up. So kind of there's a free mode where you can just stroll around and take in the city, or there's a carnage mode where you could create your own havoc, and then everybody acts accordingly.
That sounds
Dipped into
interesting.
those yet, but so there is more to do outside of the story game.
So the structure of the main story isn't like open like a GTA. It's more like you're going to mission.
No, it's exactly like GTA.
Okay.
Where kind of you'll start and you'll talk to the boss, and he says you probably need to go there, and then you'll travel there, and then it will kick in when you get there. It's very much like old GTA.
Okay. So what? And when you say you travel there, you don't have to go directly to there. You can just kind of go anywhere you want. It's just there isn't going to be a whole lot there to find.
And unless there's like you need to get there fast, and then
Yeah.
you probably want to get there fast because someone's going to probably chase after you.
Okay.
Sometimes they're dynamic drives, but you have your option, like you say, to skip all that and just go straight there. But yeah, they
And then
pretty much go to that.
Can you like get out of the car and run around and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You could do everything that. Like I say, there's not much to do there.
Right.
But I found it just gave the immersion that I know it's there. I know it's a living, breathing city.
Yeah.
Which I didn't get from the second one. With the second one, I just felt this was empty. There's a spark missing from 2.
Yeah.
There's also a spark missing from 3. That's a game with a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, way too much.
But it's boring to do. So
yeah,
it's
just the same stuff over and over again, which stinks because the story there and the characters were really great. But it just got pulled. So the slog of like capturing the strongholds and doing all of that over and over and over again just wore thin.
There is an element in this that they've taken out of the original, which was you meet at some point in the game, you meet a guy that you have to steal cars for, or it's I'll modify your car so you can boost your car up and make it tighter and stuff like that. And then it gives you missions where you go out and you steal cars, like on the fly as a kind of a freewheeling thing. Go and steal me a certain type of car, and then you just go out and find one somewhere. They've taken that out from this, so that is one thing that they have removed. But in a weird way, I think it keeps it tighter. It's like all the things you liked, the elements you liked from the previous games, have been streamlined and packaged in, and now it doesn't feel like there's any fat on it at all. I really enjoyed it. Probably one of my favourite games this year. Wow. And I didn't think I was going to say that, seeing as how much I was disappointed by Mafia 2. Incredibly good. I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far.
That's cool. Maybe I will check it out after all, because I was like, my previous experience with the game plus the kind of underwhelming like messaging and packaging around what they did was kind of turned me off. And like this coming out so much later, I was like, man, they could have had something really cool if they had just put all this out at once. But yeah, maybe I'll check it out.
I guess, I mean, it's probably the second one's probably been fixed by now, and the third one has all the content packed into it from like the additional extra content, and it's like only about £15 extra, which is probably about $20 extra. So it's a pretty good package if you even want to get all 3.
Yeah, I think I have the everything from the third one already.
Oh, you got the big old edition.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I might have 2 as well. I don't know. I'd have to go and check.
But as a standalone, I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Very enjoyable game.
So this is out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, right? There's no Switch version?
No Switch. No.
Okay. All right. Yeah, unless there's anything more you want to say, I guess we can wrap it up.
No. It's a great one. Check it out.
All right. Cool. All right. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to see more. Check out voxelvoice.com for all of our great content, and consider supporting us on Patreon to keep our content ad-free and independent.